करते हैं हाँ बाबा जय बजरंगबली Good afternoon, welcome to Vanik-Ias. Today we will discuss current affairs of 28th March and first related to science and technology, that is NASA's space launch system SLS rocket. It is launching Artemis 1, right? It is launching Artemis 1. This is a mission of NASA, and that is the launching system is Space Launch System or SLS. Like we have in India, we have PSLV, we have GSLV or GSLV Mach 3. Similarly, in NASA, we have Space Launch System, that is SLS system, which is a very successful launch vehicle. Recently, NASA Space Launch System rocket Artemis 1 rolled out from Kennedy Space Center, right? Next, what is the aim? To land humans on the moon by 2024. To land, NASA already has sent around 9 moon missions, out of his 6 are successful, right? To land humans on the moon by 2024. This is the objective, and also plans to land the first women and the first person of the color on the moon. To contribute scientific discovery and economic benefits, inspire new generation of the explorers. The objective of this mission is, especially you can write the same statement in case of any of our exploration satellites, right? You can write scientific discovery, economic benefits, and inspiring the new generation to make career in science and technology. These are the benefits of exploration, and also to understand the world, and also to understand our origin, all these things. Named after the twin sister Apollo from Greek mythology, Artemis is also a goddess of moon. Artemis is goddess of moon, right? So it's a mission of NASA launched by SLS, launched from Kennedy Space Center. It will objective is to land human on moon by 2024. Next, about the mission, Artemis 1 is the first NASA's deep space exploration system. It is the first NASA's deep space exploration system, right? It is touted as the next generation lunar exploration. Next generation of lunar exploration. It is an uncrewed space mission. Uncrewed space mission means no human member will go. The spacecraft will launch on SLS, and most powerful rocket of the world. This will be launched on SLS, right? Most powerful rocket launching vehicle, that is by NASA rocket in the world. It will travel around 280,000 miles from Earth for over 4 to 6 weeks. 4 to 6 weeks during the course of the mission. Spacecraft. The Orion spacecraft is going to remain in the space without docking into a space station longer than any ship or astronauts has ever done before. Then SLS rocket has been designed to space missions beyond low Earth orbit, right? Where is low Earth orbit? Low Earth orbit is from 180 kilometer to, we can say, around 2000 kilometer. This is low Earth orbit. From 2000 kilometer onwards, that is medium Earth orbit, and from 35,690 kilometer, that will be geosynchronous orbit, right? So SLS rocket that has been designed for space missions beyond the low Earth orbit. In low Earth orbit, we have space stations, right? International Space Station in low Earth orbit. Recently, we discussed International Space Station. That is a threat from Russia that it will not cooperate, and there is chances that it may break down. International Space Station may break down. We have already discussed that issue. So here, this is the NASA's first deep space exploration system. It will be launched by SLS. This is the next generation lunar exploration, and another thing is that this SLS rocket will it is for the space mission beyond low Earth orbit, right? I have discussed what is low Earth orbit. Next, Then Artemis base camp. Base camp will be established on surface at a gateway of lunar orbit to aid exploration by robots and astronauts. There will be a base camp that will be established on the surface of the moon, right? And that will be gateway of lunar orbit. Right? The robots and astronauts will go there. It will give astronauts a place to live and work on the moon, right? By 2024, when the next moon mission happens, that it is like just an international space station on the moon, so that where astronauts can go and live there and research on the moon. It includes modern lunar cabin, a rover and a mobile home. Modern lunar cabin, a rover and a mobile home. That is Artemis base camp. It's like an international space station on moon surface. Then gateway. The gateway is critical component of NASA's sustainable lunar explorations and will serve a multi-purpose outpost roboting on the moon. It is a spaceship in lunar orbit where astronauts will transfer between Orion and the lander on regular Artemis missions. The gateway will remain in the orbit for more than a decade, provide a place to live and work, and supporting long-term science and human exploration around the moon, right? So gateway, what is the function of gateway? It will stay there more than a decade. This will provide a place to live for the astronauts and work there, right? And supporting long-term science research on science, that is the function of gateway. So this base camp and gateway, they will provide accommodation. It's like the international space station in the moon surface. Then space agencies involved. The Canadian Space Agency has committed to providing advanced robotics under the gateway. Advanced robotics that they will work with artificial intelligence, and so that they will collect various information from the moon surface, right? No crew members means no human being is going in the Artemis 1 mission. In future, they will in Artemis 2 probably some human will go to the moon surface and they will stay there. And especially this Artemis 1, this creates the environment. This creates the environment or the structure in which the next scientist will stay and do a research, right? This is the first. That is why Artemis 1 is launched. That is to provide them a shelter, right? Like International Space Station, where astronauts can go, live, and do the research. European Space Agency will provide international habitat in the Spirit module, which will deliver additional communications capabilities among other things. So, Canadian Space Agency will give the robotics, and European Space Agency will help in developing the communications capabilities. The Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency plans to contribute habitation components and logistic resupply. Habitation components, that is in the base camp. In the base camp, if there is habitation component that can be used, that will be supplied by the Japanese Aerospace Exploration. So what is the significance of Artemis 1? First thing is that it will more knowledge. As more knowledge is known about moon compared to 50 years ago, and technologies have greatly advanced, NASA claims that this next series of mission will be to retrieve samples more strategically than during the Apollo era, that is before the decades. Next, so we will get more knowledge with the advanced technologies. Next is finding resources. The discovery of water on the moon and potential deposits of rare materials. Discovery of water on the moon and a potential discovery of rare minerals hold promise for both scientific and economic exploration and exploitation. If you can use space resources, it is the use of space resources. Various private organizations like SpaceX is also going in that direction. How can we use the space resources if we get some rare minerals? That this Artemis 1 will also help with respect to that. We are a mission to get various space resources, because so far as India is concerned, we have consumed a huge amount of minerals and natural resources. After few years, after few decades, we will face the scarcity of various resources, right? So at present, scientists are they are in search of if any other place we can get new type of resources. Maybe this is your under earth, that is in oceanic area, or in space. In everywhere, human being is trying to get the resources and rare earth materials so that it will fulfill its desired requirements in next generation. Then way to Mars, it will pave the way, it will pave a way to Mars exploration, right? Mars exploration. NASA sees Artemis as a laying the foundation for both international space agencies and private companies to build a lunar settlement and the economy, and from the eventually sending humans to Mars, right? So by Artemis 1, if NASA will make it successful, then it will create an example, and it will encourage the international space agencies and private companies to join to make a lunar settlement, that is to a settlement in the moon. If the settlement in moon is successful, then they can expect that to make a settlement in Mars as well. Lunar economy, it will enable to grow lunar economy by fueling new industries, supporting job growth, and further the demand for skillful workforce. Lunar economy based on moon, if there is any, you can get some huge amount of resources, then there is also potential. We are watching resources all over the universe, like everywhere that can be possible to fulfill our huge requirement of resources. Next, ISRO's attempt to moon exploration. Chandrayaan 1, we have sent Chandrayaan 1, was the first lunar space probe of the Indian Space Organization. It began in 2007, right, with an agreement between India Space Agency and Russia's Roscosmos, right, in a mutual cooperation. It confirmed the presence of lunar water, and evidence of lunar caves by an ancient lunar lava flow. It confirmed, so Chandrayaan 1, this confirmed presence of lunar water and lunar caves, and Chandrayaan 1, it was the first lunar mission of India, if ISRO, which was it was undertaken with the cooperation with Roscosmos, that is the Russian space agency. Then Chandrayaan 2, we know that it was 97% successful. It just failed just before reaching the moon surface. Second mission to the moon comprises a fully indigenous orbiter, lander and Vikram rover, right? Lander and rover, Pragya. Lander was Vikram. If you remember, it has failed just before reaching the target. Then Chandrayaan 3, it is expected to launch this year or next year. Chandrayaan 3 mission is a follow-up Chandrayaan 2, July 2019, which aimed to land a rover on the lunar south pole. On the lunar south pole, Chandrayaan 2 will be launched. So these are the Indian space missions: Chandrayaan 1, Chandrayaan 2, and Chandrayaan 3. Right. This year we can expect that India will launch Aditya L1 mission, and also Gaganyaan. These two we are expect to be launched in 2022. So if you have not studied these two topics, these are very important. Please go through once. Right, these two topics. Next. Then next topic is Makedattu river project controversy. Right. Next topic, we can relate it to environment or biodiversity or geography. Right. So this is an issue between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Remember the two states, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, they have a controversy regarding Makedatta river projects, like Odisha and Chhattisgarh have Polavaram project. There is controversy regarding it. Similarly, Makedatta project is the conflict between political confrontation between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Right. Okay. Then originally mooted in 1948, Makedatta is drinking water cum power generation project across the river Kaveri. Right, Kaveri river, and started in 1948. Provide drinking water and power generation. Location, it is proposed by Karnataka. The project envisages a reservoir near Ontigondlu, about 1.5 km from Makedatta in Ramanagara district of South Karnataka. So especially Ramanagara district of South Karnataka. Wait, just. Yes, Ramnagar district of South Karnataka. This is where it is proposed in river Kaveri and Akravati rivers. River Kaveri and Akravati rivers. It is 4 km from Tamil Nadu border and 100 km from Bengaluru. Then Kaveri Water Dispute Tribunal, Karnataka gave the project safe. After the final order, Kaveri Water Dispute Tribunal was notified in 2013, allocating the riparian states their shares cost. The project's cost is estimated 9,000 crore. Okay, this is about Mekadetu river. It is conflict between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. It is on river Kaveri. It is located near Karnataka, and after the verdict by Kaveri water dispute in 2013, it was notified that the riparian states and the lower states will get their shares, right, based on their requirement and population and other factors. Then issues associated with the projects. Why this is in news, right? South Karnataka. Why this is in news? Okay, what are the issues? First, we will see multiple clearances. The project will need multiple clearances from center and courts as involves Kaveri water sharing dispute. Right? We have a challenge of water sharing dispute among various states, because that now it is said that by 2050 India will suffer from huge water crisis. Right? And another thing is that we have 17% of population, but 4% of water or groundwater resources we have the access, right? That's the problem. So there is a huge gap between supply and demand. So accordingly, we also various states there is conflicts. So one such conflict is Mekadetu river projects. So, and there is a Kaveri water sharing dispute is already there. That lead also clearance for that project that need to be cleared. Also various clearances like environmental clearances and land acquisition, various problems are there. Then affects natural habitat. The proposed land will submerge. Submerged zone is habitats for certain threatened species. The project will adversely impact in the natural habitat. Obviously, when any type of infrastructure development happens, natural habitats got suffering, right? Huge amount of people got suffered, and especially tribal people, they suffer from displacement. Right, especially tribal people get this displacement, and it is seen that hardly 15% of tribal people who get displaced in such projects get rehabilitation. Rehabilitation of these displaced people is a very difficult task for the administration. It cannot be done effectively, right? That is the issue. One issue is that the rehabilitation, and natural habitats in another issue. Next, tussle with the Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu has all strongly opposed the project, approached the Supreme Court, as well as saying any dam proposal by upper riparian states in the Kaveri basin would deprive the state's delta farmers of rightful share of water. So here is another issue. There is state politics, right? State politics. If upper riparian state is doing something, and if you are not, reacting to it, that means there is a state politics. Everybody want to give the message to their people of the state that we are so serious about the state, right? It's one type of sub-regionalism. I will say that suppose the Karnataka chief minister, obviously, or the Tamil Nadu chief minister, even if they know that it will be beneficial for both of them, but as the upper riparian state, maybe there is a threat, we don't know, but maybe there is some threat to Tamil Nadu regarding water availability, but utilizing that, they have to show that they really care for the availability of water. So that's why they must oppose any such project. So it's not only about the availability of water, it's also about the regional politics as well, right? So there is a lack of political will, as we can say. So Tamil Nadu has been constantly opposing it and also moved to Supreme Court. The state contended that proposed reservoir would affect natural flows of the river Kaveri. Obviously, it will affect after the natural flows of river Kaveri. Every river is getting, whenever there is a dam is made, natural flow got affected. The final adjudication of the settlement of the centuries long Kaveri dispute through the formation of the Kaveri Water Regulation Committee and nullifies, right? The Tamil Nadu nullifies the final adjudication of the settlement of the centuries of Kaveri river dispute. So Tamil Nadu is opposing in every manner and went to Supreme Court with respect to it. So that is the biggest challenge. Next, Karnataka has maintained that extra drawing of water will not in any way affect mandatory allocation of water to Tamil Nadu and Puducherry. Right, the portion of Karnataka is that whatever mandated by according to your population and other requirements, whatever mandated to the Tamil Nadu, that will be provided without compromising, right? It will obey that, but still why it is opposing the making of that project, right? If you will get the sufficient amount of water what you are claiming, then obviously why you are requiring that? Why you are opposing the project? You will get definitely the amount of water you are entitled to. Okay. Karnataka says the project will fall inside the judicial limit of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu permissions is not needed. Judicial limit of Karnataka, right? That is within the territory of Karnataka. So there is no permission from Tamil Nadu is needed. It also argues that since there is no stay of any court on the project, Karnataka can go ahead. No Supreme Court, neither any court has imposed any stay. So Karnataka can go ahead. On utilizing the surplus water, Karnataka says that any allocation of this sphere should be done after hydrology studies to ascertain the quantum excess water available in the basin. So it is what it is proposed, whatever the excess water that present in the basin that is going to see the unnecessarily, we can utilize by making a dam. Whenever you are making a dam, that particular dam will generate huge amount of hydropower energy. We want renewable energy, various sources of renewable energy. Also, that will irrigate a large amount of area via canal system, right? By various canals. So that will help in irrigation. Also, that will help in the storage of water, harvesting of water, rainwater harvesting. So in every manner, dam is essential, right? And according to Karnataka, it will not happen the requirement of water of Tamil Nadu or Puducherry. Significance of the project: it aims to supply drinking water to Bengaluru and surrounding regions, but has been challenged in the Supreme Court by Tamil Nadu on the ground that it would eat into the state's share of Kaveri water. It aims to supply drinking water to Bengaluru and surrounding regions. Also, it has been challenged in the Supreme Court by Tamil Nadu that it would eat into the state's share of Kaveri water as adjudicated by the court in 2018. It would also able to help the city address the water use, right? Kaveri, currently more than 30% of Bengaluru is dependent on the borewell water that is extracting the groundwater, whereas a huge amount of water that is going to the sea. So this is where it says that we will utilize the water, right? There is also plans to generate 400 megawatt of power. The revenue earned from the power generation is expected to compensate the government for its investment in the project within few years, right? So it will be very beneficial. With there is huge amount, a particular amount will be invested, and that can be recovered from the hydropower energy. So it is very beneficial for the Karnataka government, but that is opposed by Tamil Nadu government. Okay, next we will see. So, what are the benefits of construction of dams? These are common benefits. You can write in any question. First thing is flood control. Obviously, during rainy season or because of climate change, in certain areas rainfall per day is increasing. See, rainfall per day is increasing, but total number of rainy days is decreasing. That's the effect. So, especially in some areas where already there is rain, there will be heavy rain. This is the impact of climate change. Then land improvement. That's the problem. So obviously there is chances that floods and we again and again we are witnessing flood situation in various parts of the country. Then land improvement and extra benefits will go after an increase of soil productivity because drainage and land improvement precautions. Because of drainage system there will be land improvement and also because of irrigation. Then potable water, dam supply drinking water and domestic water to address the water scarcity. Already the city of Bengaluru is facing the problem of water scarcity. Many cities of India is facing the problem of water scarcity. So this dam will provide the requisite amount of water to Bengaluru, so that groundwater extraction problem will be solved to many extent. Then irrigation. Dams will benefit the dry and unirrigated regions. Dams will benefit the dry and unirrigated regions. Then energy. Dams will provide energy, that is hydropower energy, to make the project more economical with additional value, right? So that will create profit, right? Particular project will create profit. Then transportation benefits. This will occur in the case there is waterway transportation in the project. There is waterway transportation in the project. So, and waterways are very beneficial. You know, if it is very beneficial, cost efficient, right? If 1 rupee is spent by road transportation, then hardly 30 paise will be spent the same distance by if in the waterways, right? So far as transportation is concerned, waterways or transportation by water is very easy and cost effective. So this will also help us waterway transportation. So these are various significance of a particular dam. Environmental impact of dams. Environmental impact, huge environmental impact, right? First thing, this may create earthquake, because a huge amount of water will create a huge pressure on the earth crust, first of all. Second thing, that huge number of people will get displaced, right? When tribal gets displaced, or these people they get displaced, the original inhabitants they get displaced, then various discontent generate among them, and law and order situation also get created, right? One of the region of nationalism in certain areas like Chhattisgarh or Odisha is this tribal displacement. This is one of the major problem, right? Polavaram project was replacing lakhs of tribals from their original inhabitants. So that's a big problem. Loss of livelihood. Many people who are get displaced earlier, suppose they are cultivating their land, a particular land area they are cultivating. Now they will not have any such options for their livelihood. They have to search for new livelihood, right? And as I have said, there is few compensation. Rehabilitation, till now we do not have a good example of rehabilitation in any such project. Although there is big promises, still there is no such rehabilitation, right? Always those people suffer who displaced by land, right? So there are various problems. One is, so far as people is concerned, there is a law and order problem. There is destruction of nature, because a complete habitat is going to change. The river basin is going to change. The water regime change as a result of destruction of nature. Unexpected flow may occur. Consequently, vegetation, natural structures in the river banks can be damaged, right? If any there is a risk, right? Whenever there is a dam, there is also a risk that if anything happens to the dam, then the river coast there will be submerged and there will be destruction of infrastructure. Then affects fauna. Normal passing ways of territorial animals is hindered, right? Territorial animals, because they are path of various animals. If when a biodiversity losses, it changes, there is a loss of huge number of animals and species, because they cannot pass through, they cannot interact anymore. So biodiversity will not increase. We do not know exactly how much it will affect the biodiversity, right? That's a big problem, because we do not understand the exact food chain. It is very complex, very to understand. So whenever a particular step is taken, it has huge repercussions over the biodiversity is concerned, right? Affects the fauna on passing of the animals. Okay. Next is then rehabilitation. Dams affect social, cultural, and economic structure of the region. It affects social, cultural, and economical structure of the region considerably, especially forcing people who settlement areas land remains under the water migrate. They have to migrate, affect their psychological negativity. Loss of aesthetic beauty. The geological and topographical places where that are rare with their exceptional beauty disappear after lying under the reservoir. Right. Next, chances of earthquakes, some increased earthquakes may occur because filling of the big dam reservoirs. So these are the various issues that are associated with dam construction. Okay. Next, findings. A dam can serve the purpose of substantially augmenting the needs of water. Purpose of substantially augmenting the needs of a water stressed city, but the care should be taken to fulfill environmental compliances. And proper environmental impact assessment. At the same time, the tenets of cooperative federalism need to be preserved by preventing the possibility of any interstate dispute. Cooperative federalism, we have Article 262, 263 to resolve this interwater disputes, right, in Constitution. So by cooperative federalism, by zonal council or by region, by various, by for example Niti Aayog or any type of political meetings, they need to solve by cooperating federalism. But together, the states must grow. So, full environmental compliances. This is very important. Full environmental compliances, right? If you are making some restriction accordingly, for example, one such example is Kampa. We have already discussed in last class, I think. Kampa compensator afforestation. So, if there is a huge cut of trees, then you must plant huge number of trees, right? So, if you are making some environmental hazard, also you should create such an environment that will solve the issue, solve the problem, right? Next issue is prelims fact, that is ex-Dostlik military services, ex-Dostlik military exercises, right? A third edition of the exercise, that is ex-Dostlik, this is for important prelim, would be conducted at Yangiarik. Region is Yangiarik, and it is ex-Dostlik in Uzbekistan. In Uzbekistan from March 2020 to March 31, right? In Yangiarik, Uzbekistan, name is ex-Dostlik. It is joint training exercise conducted by the armies of India and Uzbekistan. Armies of India and Uzbekistan, they will make a joint military exercise in Yangiarik, Uzbekistan. The Grenadiers battalion that will represent India in this exercise, Indian Army highly decorated battalions. The first edition of the exercise will be held in Uzbekistan. Second edition will be Ranikhet, Uttarakhand. This happened in 2009. It happened in 2009 in Uzbekistan. Second in Ranikhet, Uttarakhand, and third will be in the Yangiarik and Uzbekistan. This will prove impetus to ever-growing military diplomatic ties between the two nations and reflect the strong resolve of both the nations and counter terrorism. Military and diplomatic ties and counter terrorism. We have to develop our relationship with Central Asia. Why Central Asia is important? Central Asia is important because it connects the West Asia. It's also connected to China. It also connects to Russia, right? It also connects to the Middle East, right? So this is center of world politics, you can say, and it is full of various various natural reserves, right? That is why we have to develop our culture, our relationship. And one such developing relationship is a military exercise. That's why India is conducting the military exercise, that is ex-Dostlik with Uzbekistan. Place, remember the place, that is Yangiarik, right? Yangiarik. Previously it happened in India. The second edition that happened in Ranikhet in Uttarakhand. Ranikhet in Uttarakhand is the second ex-Dostlik organized. Then what is the significance of this? What is the significance of such type of engagement? Military diplomacy to connect with Central Asia. The growing military relationship with Uzbekistan is a part of military diplomacy to connect with Central Asia, right? Because we have also INSTC corridor that is passing through Central Asia, right? So that is the hope for future trade with Iran and the other Central Asian countries. So it is important for them to develop cooperation in every manner to the Central Asian countries, right? Next, but military keeping in its connectivity to Afghanistan and Iraq. This is important to India counter Pakistan in the wake of China's Belt Road initiatives, right? China is developing its Belt and Road initiative. That's why we have to revitalize our relationship with all the countries that is nearer to China. Counter-terrorist operations. Both armies shared expertise and skills in the field of counter-terrorism operations and in the mountainous, rural, urban scenarios under the UN mandate. Right? Why you are expressing this counter-terrorism? Because India has already suffered a huge amount of, huge by the Pakistan and the Chinese, right? And especially the terrorists from Pakistan. So whole world is suffering from the problem of terrorism. That's why India is focusing on counter-terrorism in every international forum. One objective is to regionally isolate the Pakistan, to blame Pakistan and all international fora. So India is cooperating with armies of other countries for counter-terrorism. Then, and also to counter China's Belt and Road initiatives. Advanced technology exchange. Intelligence-based surgical operations, special forces tackling techniques, surveillance through high-tech command post, slithering operations from helicopters were some of the key elements of the exercise, right? So intelligence-based surgical operations, special forces tracking techniques, surveillance through high command, all these things will be other elements of the exercise, right? Ex-just leaks. Then minority Rohingya community. Minority Rohingya community. The US declared that Myanmar military committed genocide and crimes against humanity against country's minority Rohingya community. This is declared by US. Myanmar, right? Rohingya community. They are the ethnic community from Rohingya Muslims. They are the Muslims of Rohingya. What happened in case of, it's like your Sri Lanka. There is no democracy there is no democracy in Myanmar. There is a military junta. We can say there is a military junta which is very powerful. There is no democracy. Aung San Suu Kyi, she do not have any such power. Here there is a conflict between majority and minority. Right. Similarly, that happened in your Sri Lanka. That is between the Sinhalese and the Tamilis. So here they are the Rohingya Muslims are the minority and Buddhists are the majority, right? Buddhists are majority. That's why they started divide. And what happened? The military that mercilessly killed these Rohingya Muslims, and suddenly huge amount of around 6 lakhs of Rohingya Muslims, they fled away from the country to save their life, right? This happened. Some went to Bangladesh, some went to other South Asian countries, and also many of them came to India. In India they came and settled in near Jammu and Kashmir, right? Around India we have around 40,000 of Rohingya Muslims. Okay. So what happened? The majority and minority conflict, right? The military killed the Rohingyas in Myanmar. The crisis happened and that led to migration, right? Illegal immigration, we can say. Then about earlier massacres in Bosnia and Herzegovina, Rwanda, Iraq, Darfur, Islamic attacks of Yazidis and other minorities, China threatment of Uyghur Muslims minority has been declared genocide by US. Genocide by US. First thing, which are the names? Massacre in Bosnia and Herzegovina, then Rwanda, Iraq, Darfur, Islamic States attacks on Yazidis and minorities, China's treatment of Uyghur Muslim region in China, in Xinjiang region, they have declared by genocide. They are declared as genocide. It is one more thing, that is the Rohingya Muslim issue, that is declared genocide by United States. More than 7 lakh Rohingya people have fled Myanmar to Bangladesh after the military crackdown started in Rakhine state in 2017. Not only to Bangladesh but also to India. In 2017, up from Rakhine state they started to migrating to nearby countries. Currently over 1 million Rohingya people live in refugee camps of Bangladesh waiting for the repatriation to their homeland and Rakhine province of Myanmar. Their homeland is Rakhine province of Myanmar. There is no such solution. They have always a conflict. See what happens when a majority takes steps against minority, then minority many times it has seen the terrorist born among the minority. In case of Tamils that also happened, right? Various steps are taken by in Sri Lanka by the majoritarian Sinhalese. That affected the interest of minorities. They are the Tamils, and they started taking arms and started terrorism. That is how terrorism started in Sri Lanka. Similar things happened in Myanmar, and terrorism started in Myanmar in 2017. Currently over 1 million Rohingya people in the refugee camps of Bangladesh waiting for repatriation to their homeland, Rakhine province of Myanmar. Okay. Next, who are Rohingya? Rohingya is an ethnic group representing the largest percentage of Muslims in Myanmar. Ethnic group that is the largest percentage of Muslims in Myanmar, and predominantly live in the western Myanmar, that is province of Rakhine. In province of Rakhine, there is a huge population of Rohingya Muslims. They speak dialect of Bengali opposed to the commonly spoken Burmese language, right? There is a linguistic conflict. That same linguistic conflict happened in your Sri Lanka as well, right? Between Sinhalese and the Tamils. Sinhalese language and Tamil language. There is a complete. Sinhalese didn't recognize the language of Tamil in Sri Lanka. They are described by United Nations as one of the most persecuted minorities of the world. And you must write this sentence. Rohingyas are one of the most persecuted minorities in the world. This is declared by United Nations. The Rohingyas population denied citizenship under 1982. Rohingya population was denied citizenship under 1982. Myanmar nationality law. Myanmar nationality law. They have denied the Rohingya possibly acquiring the nationality, right? Even though they belongs to that region, they are denied their citizenship, and that the same thing happened in Sri Lanka as well, right? But the Tamils are also denied citizenship. The flow of Rohingya from Myanmar intensified 2017. The coast near the Bangladesh city Cox's Bazar was taken over the refugee settlements. Recently, Bangladesh started relocating Rohingya refugees from their overcrowded camps at Cox's Bazar, Bhasan Char Island, which was an ecological fragile area prone to floods. That's the problem, right? This Char Island, this is ecological fragile. Anytime that the floods may come and these whole people, maybe they will die, right? So this is the issue, right? Nobody knows where to resettle them. India is also want to send them back or repatriate them, but there is no such option where to send these 14,000 Rohingya Muslims. They are the most persecuted, do not have land, they do not have education, they are not getting any facilities, and that's the problem, right? In India, but the problem with that is India is also a developing country, Bangladesh is also a developing country. They do not have a huge amount of resources to provide food and shelter to the Rohingya Muslims. Then who are the Rohingyas? Okay, this is what we have already discussed. Next. So this is all about your Rohingya Muslims, and men's answer writing. See, this is a question, that is, what do you understand by de-dollarization? De-dollarization. Analyze the measures that India must take to safeguard her interest as per the phenomenon of de-dollarization. What are the measures that India need to be taken to de-dollarization gain momentum, right? If de-dollarization, that is reduction of the effect of dollar in international trade. Introduction. For many years, US dollar has been standard currency used in the world trade. It was dominating in the whole world, right? For example, oil, gold and most of the commodities quoted dollars. Many countries hold their reserves in dollars in the form of US traded securities. De-dollarization describes a move away from the world order to one where nations sell the US treasuries to hold reserves in their currencies, gold, and seek use their own currencies for transactions between the most important trade partners. Now, what is the problem? Problem is that now the central for economic world is becoming increasingly multipolar, right? In a multipolar world order means various power, right? Earlier, after Second World War, after Second World War, it was the US and USSR. But after the breakdown of USSR in 1990, the world has become multipolar. That is, the US is the big power. It is the multipolar. It is big power, superpower, or giant power in terms of military as well as in terms of economic. But now, situation has changed. World has become multipolar by rise of China. One thing is rise of China. Second is rise of terrorism that happened, the hegemony of USA. Also, there is rise of India, and also rise of India. It is a big country, it is a big economy. So, world has become, and also BRICS, rise of BRICS. Right? This has changed the scenario of world politics, that is making it unipolar to multipolar. Right? Gradually, it is the international politics is not Eurocentric, it is becoming Asia-centric, right? Asia-centric. The center of the international politics is changing, that is to Indo-Pacific, we can also say. So, de-dollarization is getting happened. De-dollarization, that is the effect of dollar is reducing. We can say that the effect of dollar is reducing. Okay. Various attempts at de-dollarization in recent years. What are the examples? Russia reduced its share. Russia reduced its share of dollar-denominated assets. and prioritize national currencies instead of US dollar bilateral trade. Instead of US dollar trade, it has dollar denominated assets. So here again we can see the currency swap. One example is currency swap, right? You do not need the foreign exchange when you currency swap. That means transacting in your own currencies. So Russia is taking such steps. Then Russia also developed national electronic payments system called as MIR in 2015. Electronic payments called as MIR. So financially getting independent. Next, in China aims to use trading platforms and its digital currency to promote its China. So Chinese currency has also yuan, right? Yuan has also got the approval from the IMF, right? It has because China has a huge share in the world market so far as export is concerned. So China is also trying to avoid the US dollar. They want to decrease the hegemony of US dollar and also in a mission of multipolar world order. In 2021, the People's Bank of China submitted a global sovereign deposit currency governance proposal to the Bank of International Settlement (BIS) to influence global financial rules via digital currency. That is E1, right? E1. China want to push this E1. The IMF added one to special drawing rights (SDR) basket. One entered into the SDR basket of IMF in 2016. That means world people can trade with respect to with yuan, right? The Chinese currency, the whole world can trade as of for now because that is given the clearance by IMF. In 2015, the European Central Bank exchanged EUR 500 million worth of its forex reserves into one dominated securities. European Central Bank exchanged euro around 500 million worth forex reserves into the one denominated securities. That means the transactions in yuan and euro is getting increased. India has also worked to alternative arrangements including barter arrangement with certain sanctioned countries in the past, right? Barter arrangement has also started between India and other countries to avoid initial sanctions with various countries. Why India must move towards de-dollarization, right? Why you should move toward de-dollarization? First thing that this will strengthen our economy. How? This will strengthen our rupee because which is constantly falling since decades. Indian economy dynamic with dollar different from other economies in the world today, unlike China and Russia, Europe and Japan, which hold dollar significant amount. India reserves is not resulted into export surplus. India's reserves is not sufficient, although we have around $600 billion, but that is not such sufficient for exports because India has high import as compared to exports. While other accumulate dollars from the earnings of trade surplus, India maintains large forex reserve even though India imports less than its exports, but it maintains a large forex reserve that is more than $600 billion. India's case, the dollar reserve comes from the infusion of FDI and foreign portfolio investment, which reflects the confidence of foreign investors in India's growth perspective. So we are getting huge amount of money for FDI and FPI, right? That is foreign portfolio investment or the investment in share market. FPI is investment in share market, whereas FDI is investment that is bringing long-term investment. Okay. By accumulation of dollar reserves through this route, India remains vulnerable to policy changes by other nations' monetary policies. Right? Yes. Vulnerable to policy changes. What do you mean by policy changes? If United States or Fed changes its rates, right? For example, Fed Reserve of United States, they changes their interest rate, then that also affects India's economy, right? So India is vigilant if there is any changes in the US Fed Reserve. So de-dollarization will make us self-dependent so far as it will reduce our dependency or reduce our vulnerability with respect to policy changes in other nations. For instance, it has been often highlighted that tightening the US monetary policy leads to capital outflows. Tightening of US monetary policy leads to capital outflows, right, from India, thus impacting India adversely. That means if when dollars become, I mean its value become increases, so what happens? People bring money from Indian share market and they went to go and invest in US share market. This especially that is where we call as outflow of money from the share market. It happens whenever there is policy changes. So for us, that is, for example, if happens strengthening of or tightening the monetary policy, that India suffers. So in all these factors, we need ourselves to reducing the vulnerability. That's why it will be better for India if it happens. Then challenges for de-dollarization. Just like Chinese renminbi, Indian rupees is not yet fully convertible to the exchange markets. It is not fully convertible, right? It is convertible in current account, not in capital account. Although we have now achieved all the requirements to adopt this capital account convertibility, still we have not opened. While this means that India can control burden of foreign debt, can control its burden of foreign debt and inflow of capital, whether repercussions like the fuel price rise, right? Anything, anywhere, de-dollarization as a direct challenge to US-India relations. De-dollarization as a direct challenge to US-India relationship, right? US do not want to India to go for de-dollarization. We have signed currency swap agreements with various countries as well, which USA do not want. New Delhi has registered a de-dollarization push for Liang. New Delhi, that is, or India, are trying for de-dollarization so that our rupee will not become weak with respect to the dollar. For instance, back in 2009, when Russia China started to push by a BRIC mechanism, argued in New Delhi would not like to offset Washington.